In the original Naruto series, the Hyuga and Uchiha were set up to be a clan rival. An amazing introduction to both clans that got viewers excited, where the Byakugan focuses on taijutsu and manipulating chakra, and the Sharingan focuses on genjutsu and foresight. Unfortunately, as the anime progressed, it became increasingly clear which dojutsu Kishimoto actually cared about, and over time, not just the Hyuga, but other parts of the story suffered as a result of Kishimoto's undivided attention to the Uchiha clan. I highly recommend you watch the prologue video to this series, as it helps set up why I'm making these videos. You will also understand what I think Kishimoto's mindset was about the anime. Anyway, let's get into the origins of Byakugan. Let's understand where the Byakugan comes from. The Byakugan and Sharingan are dojutsu that come from the children of Kage Otsutsuki, Hamura and Hagoromo Otsutsuki. When these two had children of their own, that's when the lineage split, where the children of Hamura were born with the Byakugan, and the children of Hagoromo were basically the rest of the world and other clans. Hamura had children and left Earth with some of them, and those are the Otsutsuki clan members. The ones that are on Earth are the Hyuga clan members, and they're the ones we'll be focusing on today. Now that the expedited history is out of the way, let's talk about what we know about the Byakugan. Some of the jutsu the Byakugan has are the 64 palms and 6 extensions, where you shut down chakra points and close chakra paths, the gentle fist, which is a complementary fighting style, increased vision, which I don't think there's a limit in how far you can see or the smallest thing you can see, the air palm, the lion fist, the rotation, and that's about it. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it can seem pretty underwhelming, and I agree with you, and that's why we're going to change it. First things first, the blind spot. I don't know why Kishimoto decided to add it or what value he saw in adding it, but it should not be there. It contributes nothing to the anime except for that one time Sakura was semi-useful and punched Kaguya in the back of the head. The blind spot literally does nothing for the Byakugan, which is a dojutsu that Kishimoto already neglects. We're getting rid of the blind spot in this Byakugan rework. The next thing is the 8 trigram 64 palms and its extensions. This jutsu has never ever killed or fully incapacitated an enemy in the anime. The 64 palms should be devastating to anyone. Why? Because everyone relies on chakra. I don't care who you are in the anime, if you have chakra paths, you're susceptible to the 64 palms and by extension, the gentle fist. That includes Jinchuriki. Why? Because chakra paths are supposed to allow the flow of chakra. So if you block that flow of chakra, why would anything be able to go through? That entire fight in Naruto vs Neji was a plot armor filled fight where Naruto could just prove that friendship determines everything. Okay, it just makes no sense. If your chakra path is blocked, you're not able to mold chakra. This will make the 8 trigram 64 palms more devastating to enemies and make people want to avoid it more, and the power of friendship and plot armor won't be able to get through this one. The gentle fist should only be wielded if you have the Byakugan. I don't care if you smash Kaguya Otsutsuki herself, the gentle fist is made to rely on the vision of the Byakugan. You should not be able to use it if you don't have the dojutsu by default. The fact that Boruto can use it simply because he's a half-breed, again, devalues an already neglected dojutsu. A variation of the gentle fist is a different fighting style, but it should be Byakugan and by extension, Hyuga exclusive only. Now, let's move on to a different section of this video, Byakugan tied jutsu. I think that the Byakugan needs something that is specifically tied to it to increase its value in the anime and in the story. Now, I don't mean complementary like the gentle fist style or the air palm. I mean something specifically tied to the Byakugan, how foresight is tied to the Sharingan, or the Shinran Tensei is tied to the Rinnegan. Something tied to the Byakugan that adds to its value and adds to its significance in the story. The first jutsu is 8 trigrams Siphon. The Byakugan user compromises their target's chakra network and absorbs their chakra. This jutsu works by the user touching the tenketsu of their target and using that to steal chakra from them. The user has to be touching their target for the siphoning process to begin. The reason I'm giving such a jutsu to the Byakugan is because the Byakugan is a dojutsu meant to compromise the chakra system of other people. It makes sense to give a siphoning jutsu to the Byakugan, as opening and closing chakra networks is the primary goal of the dojutsu. To those who think it's underwhelming, let me give you a scenario. If the gentle fist is a fighting style that focuses on opening and closing tenketsu, the user of this jutsu could easily continue siphoning chakra from their target as long as the fight continues. As long as they can reach their target's tenketsu, there is no reason they won't be able to siphon as much chakra as they want. Some people might think that this is an overpowered jutsu, and that I'm just giving it to the Byakugan because I'm salty, but that's not the case. The goal is to give the Byakugan jutsu that makes sense to how we've seen it used in the anime, and what we already know about the Byakugan. So, what would make no sense would be if I give the Byakugan a genjutsu like Tsukuyomi. No member of the Hyuga Clan or Byakugan user that I know of actively uses genjutsu when using the Byakugan, but I gave the Byakugan 8 trigram Siphon because it makes sense, as the Byakugan is a dojutsu focused on manipulating chakra. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to the next jutsu, 8 trigrams Fortify. The Byakugan user releases chakra points throughout their body and creates a chakra cloak around themselves as a protective shield. While it does not increase one's speed, it increases one's defense relative to the intensity of the chakra cloak. The wielder of this jutsu can freely move around, and depending on skill level, change the nature element of the cloak. The chakra cloak, however, takes a decent amount of chakra. The reason the Byakugan would have this jutsu is because, again, the Byakugan allows users to perfectly manipulate their chakra. But high ground, won't this make Byakugan users in Hyuga incredibly powerful? Yes and no, Johnny. Yes, because having a chakra cloak in this anime is no small feat. But no, because this isn't like KCM or Lightning Chakra mode. This is supposed to be a defense booster, making the user of this jutsu just a little bit more tanky. Like I said, you can increase the intensity of this jutsu, which makes you more and more tanky. However, don't forget that this takes a good amount of chakra, as you're literally burning your chakra to form a shield around yourself and block attacks. This jutsu is obviously more on the difficult side. And again, I'm giving this jutsu to the Byakugan because you're forcing the release of chakra through open chakra points, which is literally the entire point of the dojutsu. The next jutsu on this list is 8 trigrams Repulse, a pulse of energy from open chakra points throughout the body to repel anything on or close to the user. Utilizing the 360-degree vision, the user releases chakra all around themselves. While a jutsu with limited range, it does pack a punch if close enough. I actually had this idea before, and then Shinobi Striker released the Neji DLC, which was basically 8 trigrams Repulse, but they called it Gentle Fist Body Blow, so I mean, you know.
Gentle Fist Technique Body Blow!
Now, you guys might not like me for this one, but I'd give the 8 gates to the Byakugan, and here's why. The 8 gates is purposefully releasing the natural limiters on a person to drastically increase the flow of chakra. The gates are there to prevent the person from overexerting themselves to levels that would not be physically possible without opening the gates. I just want to emphasize something again. I might sound like a broken record, but the goal of the Byakugan Dojutsu is to become proficient in opening and closing your own and other people's tenketsu. With this in mind, it would make sense why having the Byakugan would at least help a user accomplish opening the 8 gates, as the 8 gates are chakra points throughout the body. Now you might be saying, if you're going to make this a Byakugan Taijutsu, how have Might Guy, Rock Lee, and Kakashi been able to open these gates? And the answer to that question is, I really don't know. There's no official explanation to how the gates can be opened, so this wouldn't necessarily be a Byakugan Taijutsu as it would be a Hyuga Clan Taijutsu. Let me explain. The Hyuga Clan spend their entire lives mastering the Byakugan and trying to exploit every single possible use it has. Like I said before, they've made rotation, air palm, and even a fighting style tied specifically to the dojutsu. So if at some point a Hyuga Clan member happened to open a gate, I wouldn't be surprised. It would make sense given how the Byakugan works. Now as to how other people besides the Hyuga Clan have opened it, the only semi-logical answer that I can give is that the Hyuga at some point were nicer and trusted Dai enough to open the gates. He then showed it to Guy, who showed it to Kakashi and Lee. Other than that, I got nothing. But I do stand by the idea that the Byakugan, or at least the Hyuga Clan, should be able to open the 8 gates. And we finally arrived at the final part of this video, the Byakugan Evolution. For those who don't know, the Tenseigan to the Byakugan is like the Mangekyo to the Sharingan, an evolved version of the dojutsu which grants the user new abilities. Kishimoto probably did this to make the Byakugan more relevant, but completely botched it when he made it only possible with the Otsutsuki. So we're going to change that. I've thought of a realistic process for unlocking the Tenseigan as a Hyuga member. When we go back to what I said earlier, the Hyuga Clan are direct descendants of Hamura Otsutsuki, meaning that they have dormant Otsutsuki chakra. All clans in Naruto actually have dormant Otsutsuki chakra inside of them, and since Hagoromo basically fathered the world, he's the reason we have the Uchiha, Senju, Uzumaki, etc. While Hamura is the reason we have the Hyuga Clan. I guess it was like a split in the family. The clans have unique abilities because through the generations, the dormant Otsutsuki chakra changed over time, which is what created Kekkei Genkai. But we don't care about those clans, we only care about the Hyuga. So let's look at the process for actually obtaining the Tenseigan. The person will activate their Byakugan and open all of their chakra points. Through the open chakra points, they will forcefully release all of their chakra, and I mean to the point where they have no amount of chakra left in their system. This will force the active Byakugan to almost scavenge through the user's body to find any amount of chakra to remain active, and that is where the Otsutsuki chakra will be found. If this is confusing, let me give you a similar example that happened in the anime. In the fight between Naruto and Neji, Neji closed Naruto's chakra points, which meant he couldn't rely on his regular chakra. This forced him to rely on the dormant Kyuubi chakra in his body, because he couldn't mold the regular chakra that he had been using prior. It's the same thing here. Because the Byakugan can't use the regular chakra as it's been drained, it forces it to find and rely on the dormant Otsutsuki chakra inside the user's body. Now here's the catch. Because we can't just have every Hyuga with a Tenseigan, there has to be some drawback. If the user doesn't have enough dormant Otsutsuki chakra in their body, they go blind. Because if the Byakugan has no chakra to keep it active, it shuts down. And that makes sense. Let's also not forget that not having any chakra is a very bad situation in this anime. No chakra means you die, so any Otsutsuki chakra you have will go into repairing your body and keeping you alive. Are you willing to risk it for the Tenseigan, or are you satisfied with your Byakugan? That's what you have to ask yourself in this process. Being a master of the Byakugan is so relevant to this process. Like we've already established, the Byakugan helps the user to manipulate their chakra points masterfully. While repeated use won't increase the Otsutsuki chakra you have, it'll help expedite the process of releasing chakra from your body, and allowing the Otsutsuki chakra to be utilized to its fullest potential. I thought that was a nice little way to incorporate the Byakugan's main goal into the Tenseigan unlocking process. Okay, we're almost done with the video. I just have one more thing to say. The Tenseigan is already a good dojutsu. It has a chakra mode, you can fly, and I think you get unlimited sage orbs. So yeah, that's quite something. The only jutsu I'd add is something called Tenseigan Reflect. In this jutsu, the user looks at the opponent and mimics their attack in almost a mirror-like fashion. It's basically Yaguro's Aqua Mirror technique, and I thought it'd be a cool addition to the Tenseigan. And similar to 8 trigrams Fortify, this takes a good amount of chakra, and based on the intensity of what you're trying to reflect, you'll be burning a lot of it. That's the end of the video. Thank you for making it all this way, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.